So our children, I started to say our regular children, there's nothing regular about our children. But our children who are normally here are off doing wonderful, exciting things. And we have some visiting children. Would you like to bring them up? Or I know this is your first time, so we want to make things easy for you. Would you like to come up here for the children's blessing? This is Miss Pam. Reagan, we're so glad you're here, darling. We are so happy you're here. And you know what? Miss Pam has a wonderful lesson plan for you down there, and I'm going to show you. I brought a show and tell today. You know what this is? Come on up here and tell us, because they all don't know what it is. What is that? That's right. It's a birdhouse, isn't it? Do you have any birdhouses where you live? No. Well, you know what? We have a new neighbor who put up birdhouses. And guess what happened? You want to know what happened? Let's look inside. You want to? Okay. Okay, come up closer so you can see. What do you see? Say bird nest? Okay, it's our first time. Reagan, we're so happy you're here. And you know what? When the birds came and built the nest in here, they were a chickadee couple, Mr. and Mrs. Chickadee. And they built this nest, and you know what they did after they built the nest? What? They laid some eggs. Can you believe it? And we have a picture of the baby birds up here. That's not it. There it is. Can you see the little baby birds? Those were inside the nest. And every day we get so excited. We open the door, we look in at the eggs, and then there'd be baby birds. And then they started getting feathers. And then you know what happened? Their parents taught them to fly, and they flew away. Isn't that exciting? Yeah. And I thought it would be fun to bring it today for Mother's Day, because this is the way God comes into our lives and brings us beautiful blessings. Just as simple as having a bird nest in your backyard. That's God blessing us and loving on us. And you know what this nest is lined with? You do? My dog's white fur. Can you believe it? And that's another way. The universe just keeps blessing us all the time in the simplest ways. And our lives are lined with spirit love all the time. You like that? I know you do. And so, I'm going to save this up here to show it to the children next week, because they're going to be very sad to have missed this. Because that is one special thing. And you know what we do now before you go downstairs for your lesson? We're going to bless you. And what we do, we hold our hands out like this. And we bless all those people out there at the same time. Okay? Here you go. Because love comes through our eyes and our hands and our hearts. So send them lots of love. They're needing lots of love out there. Here we go. We love you. We bless you. We appreciate you. We behold the Christ in you. And we love you exactly the way you are. We're so glad you're here. Okay. All right, y'all. We've got some announcements. Yay! Was that the first one up? Okay. So, Dee Jones, where are you? If you've been downstairs to the activities room, you see it being transformed into a yard sale. Looks like when we used to have the Unity Thrift Store down there. It's going to be Saturday, May 31st. You can start bringing in your items, and Dee is pricing them, and we're going to have a great good time. Okay. Today, we're having our potluck, and volunteers are requested, please, to help lay out food and clean up after. And our next slide is a plea from headquarters to have some new team leaders Charlene and Janice Henson, is she up here? She's downstairs, okay. So for 3 years, Charlene and Janice. Maybe the mothers are the potluck, so it's time for some new fathers or mothers to step up and be team leaders. So please speak to Charlene or Janice about that. Okay, y'all, we have a very special guest speaker today. And just let them see you and love on you and give you a round of applause. Let me just read a few notes that I've made about her. First of all, she comes to us by way of a recommendation, both from Shipley at Unity on the River in Amesbury, Massachusetts, where David and I spoke a few times through the years. And also, more importantly, 2 lifelong friends in California. We all share that wonderful friendship with Sam and Mel. So we're so glad you're here. Reverend Denise DeSimone is an author, an ordained interfaith minister, a personal mentor, certified sound healer, and is also certified in many other healing modalities. When you're at home here, there's lots of people in the healing work here. From a medical standpoint, some refer to Denise as a miracle, having survived stage 4 throat and neck cancer. A journey which led her to author this book entitled From Stage 4 to Center Stage. 22 months after being warned she may never sing again, Denise sang to a sellout crowd of 37,000 Red Sox fans, yay Red Sox, at Boston's Fenway Park, 37,000 people. Her story has been shared on Inside Edition, Fox News, The Buckley Report, and NBC's Daytime Show, along with extensive radio interviews across the nation and internationally. Denise has created several CDs that are available over here at the table along with her book. And more importantly, this afternoon, we're going to join her here for her sound healing workshop entitled The Sound of Your Dreams. Have you ever wondered what the sound of your dream is? Many of us love sound healing because of Olivia Rose. She's brought it to us every first Wednesday of the month for many, many years, so we are big believers in sound healing. Reverend Denise now travels the country sharing her mission and her message that self-love is the greatest healer. Self-love is the greatest healer, which is also the title of her message today. So again, let us welcome Reverend Denise DeSimone. Okay. Now, I would like to honor that today is Mother's Day. And when you came in, you were offered a rose as a mother, a grandmother, a great-grandmother, a stepmother. If you did not get a rose, they're down in the lobby.
They're down underneath.
Oh, actually, they're right here. If you didn't get a rose, please take one. And there's more on the altar as well. I would like to know how many great-great-grandmothers we have. Great-great-grandmothers. Okay. So that was great-great-grandmother. Do we have any great-grandmothers? Yes, please stand, Evelyn and Dr. Great. Now all the grandmothers. All the grandmothers. all of the beautiful men who have been a mothering presence in the world for your children or someone else's, please stand. Thank you. Please be seated. So, I'm going to ask you, before you leave today, please let all the ladies take a rose first, and then all the men are also invited to take a rose. Because the main message is, the mother of the universe, the heart of the mother, heart of Holy Spirit, moves through all of us, right? Yeah. Yes. And we are all called to be a mothering presence in the world. One of my most precious memories and realizations and teachings came through my mother, who, when I was probably 4 or 5, I would come into the house so excited with a little bouquet of wildflowers, phlox and dandelions, clutched in my little hot, sweaty hand. And I'd offer them to her. You know, they were a little bit droopy and sweaty. And she'd put them in a little vase and put them prominently on the dining room table.
Oh, nice.
What a gift.
Nice job.
To have that precious gift from my heart received in that way. And that is for all of us to remember. There will be people who come to us with their precious hearts. And we open up the space, we call it the heart of the mother, so that they feel received and welcomed and seen and honored and celebrated. That's the heart of the mother. So what people bring to us may look a little droopy. What people bring to us may look a little, hot and sweaty, but receive the gift of their presence. Receive the gift of their magnificence, even if it's a little bit hidden right now. Is that good? Yeah. So we're all called to be the heart of the mother. So again, please, all of you who are this time in a body of a female, take a rose before you go today, and all that are left, please, fellows, take a rose too, because you also are the heart of the man. I'd also like to read this to you from our book that we're studying right now, The Living Universe. Turning from science to spirituality, what do the wisdom traditions say about what lies beyond our universe? The wisdom traditions speak of the idea of a superspace or mother universe, whose transparent body extends into infinity and lives in eternity and is found throughout the world's religions. And the eminent scholar Joseph Campbell summarized a core theme in the world's great wisdom traditions and religions, which is this: there is a life pouring into the world, and it pours from an inexhaustible source. This is Mother Universe. So let's take a deep breath. Let's feel that inexhaustible energy, the one presence, known by so many names. Today we feel that source of life energy as Mother Universe. Let us continue, please, giving thanks for how the heart of the mother works through this community. All together, please. I am the consciousness of Unity Christ Church, a unified board and congregation, nurturing spiritual growth, inspiring creativity, sharing time, talents, treasures, and expanding awareness of divine oneness. Okay, we will all stay seated for our next song, I Am a Gift.
There's beauty in each day. I am a
me singing all week. Thank you. That's beautiful. We want to welcome all of our visitors today. Welcome everybody today. And if you're a first-time visitor and you'd like to stand and let us know your name and where you're visiting from, we would so like to give you a welcome from us and also a visitor's packet. Would anybody like to stand and let us know who you are, where you're from? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Miss Ellie.
My name is Ellie, and I don't know where I'm from because I live in my motorhome and I travel. Wow. So, and thank you for welcoming me.
Hear the last sentence. What did? And they all said, "Oh, what was that?"
I've been on the road for 16 years.
16 years. Well, we welcome you. Anyone else here for the first time? Yes, ma'am.
I'm Katie, and this is Zoe. Reagan, you all met already. We live down here. My husband is a fireman for the city of Myrtle Beach, so he's doing that today, and we're here celebrating with you.
Anybody else? Anybody? Yes. All right, well, for all of those first-timers who did not stand, we love and bless you, and thank you for being here. Everybody today is welcome to stay for the potluck, and then, of course, in the afternoon, the workshop with Denise from 1:30 to 4. Okay, we have our daily word. A lot of people who've never stepped foot in a community church, they know about daily word all over the world. And today, the words of blessing, mother's blessing, and the affirmation, I bless and celebrate all mothers. So I know that we take a deep breath. All of those who have lovely relationships with our mothers and all of those who did not or don't. We take a deep breath. Because ultimately, in the big picture, we are all spiritual beings. We're all beings of light. And sometimes our personalities get a little bit wacky. Right? Then the ultimate, the big perspective on a soul level. We are all eternal spiritual beings. So we bless all of those beings that we knew as our mothers, that we know as our mothers, all the mothers and grandmothers and great-grandmothers, the lineage of mothers who said yes to bringing life into the world. We got to experience life because our mothers did. So today, as we read this, we think of all mothers. I bless and celebrate all mothers. That's right. I bless and celebrate all mothers. A mother's love can be strong. It can protect and comfort, nurture, and forgive. So if you have a forgiving heart today, you have the heart of the mother. It is uplifting and supportive. This love can be unconditional. A mother's love can begin before birth and continue without end. It is an expression of the divine. Today, I honor and appreciate my mother or anyone who may have filled the role of mother in my life. I bring to mind the wisdom that the mothers in my life share, the stories that they tell, the mannerisms, the characteristics that are unique to the many mothers in our lives. I am grateful for all the mothers, what they give to the world. The greatest thank you we can offer is to share with others the best of what we know the mother's heart to be. With gratitude, we bless and celebrate all mothers. And most importantly, we bless and celebrate all people who share the heart of the mother. As mothers and fathers, as men and women and children, we bless the heart of the mother in all of us. And from the book of 1 Corinthians, simply, love never ends. And that is so true. Okay, we are now going to go into meditation. And Denise we're going to have our song Unity, and then Denise is going to lead us in meditation and a message. So let's dim the lights, and we'll sing our song.
And as we gently come back into this now moment, we take a deep breath and keeping our eyes closed, we open our hearts and say thank you. We are filled with gratitude. We say thank you, Spirit, for this time in the silence. Thank you for our heart center filled with passion and compassion, light and love and joy. Take another nice deep breath. And just open your eyes when you're ready. And soft eyes as we go through the rest of our day with soft eyes. Well, good morning. Wow, what a colorful bunch. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here with all of you today. And thank you so much to Olivia Rose, who has welcomed me, and I am her house guest, and she has some really cool toys. If y'all have been there, she's got a room. She said her grandbabies love being in, but I was just kept wanting to go in that room. And xylophones and guitars and piano and sound and bowls and just really cool stuff. So I'm so happy to be there. You were perfect. You placed me perfect. So before we get started, I'd like to ask, it's not only Mother's Day, but is there anyone out there with a birthday today? Anyone this week has had a birthday? You have. Okay, now we have a talk. When is your birthday?
May 13th.
May 13th, and today's the 11th. And for you?
May 13th.
Well, I guess I'm going to have to give you both a book. So you can, just one of you come on up and the other, and I'll sign it for you. Happy birthday.
We got one on the other side of the room.
Birthday over there.
When's your birthday?
May 8th.
May 8th. Well, they're closer. They beat you by a couple of days. Well, happy birthday to all of you. Happy birthday to all of you. So, how many cancer survivors? Can you all hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. God bless you all. And now I could also ask if... Continued good health. I could ask the question, who in the room has been touched in their lives by someone in their life being afflicted with cancer or had a diagnosis, and everybody would raise their hand. And that is, it's a little bit crazy. I'm not here to talk about cancer, but I don't know if you cancer survivors could agree with me, or you, everybody who's been touched by the presence of it in your life. But for me, cancer didn't define me. It helped to redesign me. Cancer was an invitation for me to look deeper and accept that the challenges in our lives are doorways to transformation. When everything is kind of going along in the status quo, we don't really learn a lot, do we? It's nice. And we're comfortable. But we don't go through that doorway of transformation, which I'm going to talk a little bit more in detail about, how we don't take a spiritual bypass. We actually go through the door. So I want to tell you a little bit about me. I don't want to spend a lot of time on my story. I like to say all you really need to know about me is I got cancer. I didn't die, so I wrote a book. And I will give you a little bit of background because I think it's helpful for you to know what I was doing and what was happening and what my life was like before it took a very different path. I was working full time. I was selling for a software company in the high-tech industry, selling integration software in hospitals. I had a part-time practice doing healing modalities. I was living in a port town up in Newburyport, Mass, where David and Margaret have visited us in Unity on the River. I was busy. I'm one of 5 children. I'm the youngest of 5. They're much older than me, my 2 brothers and 2 sisters. They had 18 kids, and those 18 children have produced 33 children, so I can't even count how many times. And we actually all love each other and hang out together, which is odd. And so I was busy. I had a busy social life. I was on the board of trustees at my church. I'm one of the founding members of Unity on the River. I started that church with Shipley. There were about 30 of us. Now there's 300 and something. So you're getting the picture that I was a very busy woman. And I didn't feel well. I was training for a ride called the Pan Mass Challenge. I was riding my bike 100 plus miles a week training to raise money for children with cancer, for cancer research. And the day of the ride, I almost died. I was diagnosed 2 days later, and they told me I had 3 months to live. So that was, that's an oh my God. That is definitely a really, you're kidding me, right? And so I decided that when my life came to a screeching halt, and all of a sudden it was not mattering how busy I was. It didn't matter about anything. What mattered was every single moment. And we really learned how precious the moments are, which I'm going to talk a little bit about. And so I had exploratory surgeries, I had a lot of operations, I had a feeding tube inserted. I couldn't eat. I didn't eat for months. I had a feeding tube for 9 months. Couldn't drink water for months and months. I actually started to go back to Mass General Hospital to learn how to eat. I ate baby food for months. It took me a number of years to learn how to navigate and negotiate, because when you have so much radiation, you lose a lot of your saliva, actually almost all of it. And so it was a really interesting time to have no voice, and the worst thing is when they told me I couldn't sing, I said, I don't think so. If I live, I am going to sing. And so it was very miraculous that I was gifted the gift of being able to stand on the home plate where I said, in my book I write, even the dirt looked clean. It was so beautiful and amazing to be there. That was the highlight of my life. And so my life actually came to a halt, but what does a diagnosis like that, what does anything that makes your life come to a screeching halt come to teach? Because it obviously comes to teach something. And when my life came to a screeching halt, I realized that I need to listen and I need to live what I call live like my engine's on fire. Now what do I mean by that? I'm going to invite you today to listen like your engine is on fire, because we can't possibly live a certain way unless we are listening in a certain way. Now, not just because I'm up here speaking, and I appreciate your attention. It's because Spirit divinely downloads things. And you may hear something today that could just allow you to take a step to the left or right, or back or forward, just to look at something from a different lens. And listening like your engine's on fire, I liken it to flying in an airplane. And has anyone never flown in a commercial airline? Really? Okay, well, when you get on a plane, you all know, and for those of you who don't, you've seen commercials, I'm sure, that you sit down and you get your seatbelt on, and usually I put my earbuds in, or I have a book with me, or I am picking up the in-flight magazine, seeing what kind of good stuff is in there. It's always interesting things. And within a few moments, the flight attendant gets up and they want your undivided attention at the front of the plane, don't they? Now what are we doing? We're listening to our music, or we're reading a book. Because why? Our predisposition as human beings is to say, I know that. I got that. I already know that. Now we've done that our whole lives. We probably did it in school as children. We probably did it with our parents and our teachers. I know I did it a lot with the nuns. Yeah, I get that. And we're really, really good at it with our husbands and wives and our partners. I know that. Until all of a sudden you're sitting where I like to sit, near the wing, and you look out the window and the engine is on fire. And all of a sudden now, what do? You rip your earbuds out, don't you? You put the book down because you don't care what's in it. You don't care what's in the in-flight magazine, and the book you're reading is not that important. Now we're looking for the flight attendant because she's got information or he's got information that can what? Save your life. See, we're cruising along. And we're cruising along at an altitude called life. We're doing our life. And all of a sudden, something happens. I don't know what it is for you. I hope it's never what I have to deal with. But something happens. and something happened for me, and all of a sudden my engine was on fire, and I realized, you know what? Through this process, so this is where I'm just kind of asking you to kind of hang with me today. Because if we could live our lives every day like our engine's on fire with an urgency, through happiness and love, not a stressful urgency, but an urgency that says, hey, pay attention, because the ever-changing moments of our lives are the most precious moments. Most of the time we're back here, right? Doing what? Why did I do this? Why did I do that? And I heard something the other day, I actually read something that said, if the past calls don't answer, it has nothing new to tell you. And we're usually out somewhere in the future borrowing trouble from something that hasn't even happened that we might be thinking about might happen. And what are we doing? We're not in the moment like our engine's on fire until something happens and invites us there. So that's what I'm asking for you to do today. Just hang with this crazy Italian from Boston. What's your angel? Woo-hoo, who's from Boston? Let's hear it.
Everybody.
Everybody's from Boston? Yeah. I love being Italian.
Me too.
I'll take a little commercial interruption. In my book, you'll read that I always wanted to go to Italy. I had plenty of money, I had plenty of time, I never went. Until my sisters, God bless them, they were so smart. They gifted me an all-expense-paid trip to Italy for my 50th birthday. I was diagnosed 2 weeks before my 50th birthday. So they said, there's no dying, okay? There's no dying in this family. If you die, we'll kill you. Nobody gets to die. And when you can eat again, even though I still couldn't eat, we're going to take you to Italy. And so we go off to Italy. I didn't plan on telling this story, but it's a good story. We go off to Italy, and we did this 8-day, intense Rome tour. And it was great, and I was so happy. And I'm crying on the way home, like, oh my gosh, I want to go to the mountains now. I got to meet somebody. I know so many people. I got to know somebody who lives in Italy. 2 weeks later, as God is my witness, I get an email from a friend I hadn't seen in 8 years saying, I just went through my 3rd divorce. I need my friends. I'm so sorry. I've been traveling around the world on a sailboat. Now I need my friends. Please visit. By the way, I live in Pacciano, Italy. My sister says, I sent her a copy of the email. She said, you're a witch. I said, I know, I'm a good one. She said, I know, I'm so happy I'm your sister. 7 months later, a whole bunch of us go over, and we go every year. My sister and brother-in-law keep up in it. Last year they were there 6 weeks. I was there for a couple of weeks. Now this year they're going for 2 months. She said if I didn't have 11 grandkids and 6 children, I would be living there. So that's my Italy story. So whether or not I want to, I go every single year. So I want to share with you, because it is about what I can share with you from what I learned. You see, one of the things that I want to ask you is, we come here and we build our spiritual foundation, don't we? We build our spiritual muscles up. So when we're called upon, we need to know, just like when we go to the gym, we work out because if we have to lift something heavy, we want to make sure we can count on our muscles, right? So I had been in a spiritual gymnasium called, I was a good unitic. I started in the Catholic Church, which I'm grateful to my parents for giving me that foundation, you know. And then I found Unity. In 1985, I walked into a Unity church in Nashville, Tennessee, cried for a week, came home, couldn't find it. There was no Unity. 12 years later, Chipley started a prayer group, and the rest is history. So I had been in a school of spiritual gymnasium, is what I call it. But this cancer diagnosis really called me forth and said, how strong are your spiritual muscles? How strong are your muscles going to be? Can you carry yourself through this? And by the way, we come here to find each other because we can find God in the flower, we can find God in the blade of grass. The Unity community held me so high. They held a high watch. I don't know, without prayers and the love that we all have for one another, that we're all one, that I'd really be alive today. So I thank all the Unity people. Whether you knew it, whenever you were praying, we're always praying for those who we may not even know. When we gather the energy, and like this afternoon with the sound, we're going to get together. But the work we're doing is not just for us. It's never just for us. So I had an opportunity to see how strong I was spiritually. And one of the things that helped me was I asked a question. And I'm going to ask you this. Have you ever thought about why cancer is the only disease means disconnection, dis-ease, disturbance of the ease and grace which we were born into as beloved child, filled with God, the miracle that we are. Why is cancer the only one that is referred to as a battle? You don't hear somebody lost their battle from heart disease or diabetes, or they lost their battle from pulmonary function, or, you know what I mean? Why? When Nixon in the early 70s declared war on cancer, it wasn't what we think it was. And Abraham Hicks says, war against war is war. Where there is a battle, there is a war. Now, the spiritual school I had been in begged me to ask the question, am I going to battle? And I said, no. I'm not battling anything. I'm a lover. I am 100% Italian. I am all about love. I'm not going to battle. And so I decided to make friends with my cancer. And when, I met some of you today and I learned your name. So when we make friends, we have a name. So I decided I'm going to name my cancer. And I named it PIN, an acronym for pain in the neck. Because that's what it was. And affectionately, and then, after a few months of going through all the treatment, it was actually 6 months later, they removed the entire side, this side of my neck, in what's called a neck dissection. So it really was a pain in my neck. And so I set about, and I can't give you everything, chapter 6 of my book is called PIN. And there, in my book, I open the kimono. I believe that we, at one point I said, vulnerability is the only ability that I have. And when we are really committed to be vulnerable and let our spirituality make room for our personalities, and we can get into that vulnerable place that's raw and rich and deep. I couldn't eat, I couldn't talk, I couldn't sing, I couldn't do anything, nothing. And the absence of all of life's essentials left nothing but room for me to connect with spirit. And I wasn't going to battle. So I would go into meditation, and I'm teaching you this because you can do this with anything. I don't care what it is. Make friends with it. And so I would sit and I would meditate, and I started to ask Pin, why are you here? And I can't give you everything, but I will give you the highlights of what Pin gave you. Pin said there are 3 things you need to know among many. But the 3 main ones were, stop beating yourself up for nothing. The more light you can hold, the less room there'll be for me. And the more you can love yourself, the less reason for me to stick around. So let's break those down. The more I resisted, and the more we resist whatever it is we don't want, we'll cut more of what we don't want. So I surrendered, and surrender we think means to give up, but I say it means open up. So I surrendered and I opened up. I said, okay, tell me. And when I said, I'm not, indignantly by the way, I'm not beating myself up for nothing. You know what Pin said to me? It doesn't feel that way in here. And now, some people might say, well, you're just crazy. Yes, it's a great way to access our higher selves, but there were things that came through that I could not, in my conscious mind, just had come up with. So I knew Spirit was talking to me like that. So stop beating yourself up for nothing. How often do we do that? Now, we're all here, and we're in the school of spirituality, and we're all good, like I call you lunatics. But we're human. To think about we're not going to beat ourselves up for nothing is really actually not natural. Because as human beings, we do that. Just like that predisposition to I know that. We do this. Bam, bam, bam. Why'd you do this? Why'd you do that? Beating yourself up. So I say, one of the tools to that, and I wish I had all day to talk to you, is to pay attention to what you pay attention to and think about what you think about. We have to always be reaching for that, the next good feeling thought. So we pay attention. When we start doing this, beating ourselves up for nothing, remember, it's not that it's not going to happen. How quickly can we come back to center? How quickly can we bring ourselves it's not feeling so good in here. Stop doing that. And we can invite ourselves to come back, because when we're listening like our engine's on fire, we start living our life like our engine's on fire, we pay attention in the moment, we're much more present to the moment, and we're less likely to do damage by beating ourselves up for nothing. That's all I can say about that one. The more light you can hold, the less room there'll be for me. So I thought, well, how do I go about that? How do I make more room for the light? Well, one thing I was happy about is that I had sound healing. Because you see, sound healing bypasses the brain, goes directly into the cellular level. I knew. See, we're born into miraclehood. When we come through the chute, we come popping out crying. We're miracles. And you know, well, I have this whole talk that says that I do called you're a miracle, therefore you're a miracle magnet. And so when we're born, we're miracles, and I say to people, why do we forget? Why do we forget when that child back there, resting Zoe on her mother's chest is so beautiful. That child is a miracle. You look at it and go, what a miracle. We once had that position. We were Zoe. We were resting on our mother's chest. We were the miracle. Do not forget how miraculous you are. Don't ever forget that. And so I said, well, I deserve to make more room for the light. And so what I did was I went and I bought a wiffle ball bat. My sister said, what are you buying a wiffle ball bat for? You won't be playing with the kids. I mean, I went from swimming and biking and walking and physical crazy person at the gym to needing help down 5 stairs. And I said, this is my anger management tool. And because see, before I mentioned about not taking a spiritual bypass, we tend to say, oh, we know all these tools, we know all these things, and we cannot take a spiritual bypass. In order to make more room in ourselves and make room for more light, we have to loose ourselves of the stuff that the emotions store in the crevices within our physical being. See, our minds can't tell us what's going on. Our bodies tell us what's going on. And we got to shake loose and rattle and roll. That's what I love sound healing about. So I would, and I love getting into it and walking through the doorway of transformation, not jumping over it. And so I would take that wiffle ball bat and I would whack the heck out of my recliner, because I was in a recliner for a long time. I always threatened to say I'm going to write a book called Life as a Recliner. From the recliner's perspective. Because I sat in that thing and I just whacked and whacked and whacked, and I would just break down and I would cry. I mean, you know, my life was going on really well. So I had a little bit of anger in me. Like, what is up with this? Really? Like, the doctors would tell me what's going to happen, and they got to, they're not going to eat. And I said, yeah, no, time out. And they're still talking, and I'm dead. I said to the guy, oh, wait a minute. Do you know I'm Italian?
Yeah.
We eat. That's what we do. I mean, we all eat. Mom's your mom. And so I had to release that anger. I had to release the feeling. You have to release what it is you're feeling. We got to get into the feeling of it, and we got to let it go. We got to process it. And that's how we make more room for the light. Because everything is vibration. There is nothing in our lives that is not vibration. Especially us, and the best gift that we have is our own voice. And the other gift that we have is self-love. And the third thing the pin said, among many things, that I found most important was, the more you love yourself, Denise, the less reason for me to be around. And I said, now, I'm thinking I'm loving myself, right? I'm thinking I'm doing a good job, but I wasn't. And I can stand here and tell you today that I really do love myself. Do I do sometimes bam? Sure, I'm human. Do I forget that I'm supposed to be always making room for the light and knowing I'm a vibratory being here for love and light and to help others? Yes. But self-love has to start here. Love has to start here, so it's pressed down and it's spilling out all over everybody else. And so I went about figuring out, how can I get closer to my true self and love myself. Everybody knows who Louise Hay is, right? So Louise Hay writes this book, You Can Heal Your Life. So I had read the book, and I remember that she said, go look in the mirror and say, I love you. So I thought, okay, well, I can do that. But when you do this, I don't know, has anyone ever done extensive mirror work?
Yes.
Okay. When you do that, you can go, oh, hey, I love you. It can be like an instantaneous kind of love you. And so I decided that I was actually going to look into my eyes, the windows of my own soul, and get in touch with that miracle person. And it's not easy, is it? Mirror work is not easy, but I will tell you, if you want to get to the depths of your soul about how much you love yourself, do the work. So I would stand and I would look in the mirror, and the first thing, chapter 7, is take a good look in the mirror. And I give you a complete, open-hearted, vulnerable rundown of how it happened. And briefly, I'll tell you, I could look into my eyes for a few seconds without getting all teared up. And then I could do it for 5 seconds. And then I could do it without falling on the ground and crying. And I realized 2 things. One, that forgiveness is key in our lives. I can talk about that all day. Forgiveness, first of all, for self, and then for everyone and anyone who you think you have to forgive. Even if you don't think so or you don't want to forgive, you don't have to forget. Just forgive. And so I would look in that mirror and I would do the work, and then all of a sudden, one day, I said, I'm going to put lipstick on. And I put on lipstick and I kissed myself. I was single at the time, so I don't know if that had anything to do with it. But I kissed myself in the mirror and I stared into my eyes and I saw the wounded child. That's who we have to love the most. And remembering we're miracles. So I would kiss myself in the mirror. My mirrors were a mess. I didn't care. People come and go, what's all over your mirror? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to tell you how to do this. And you men out here too, get lipstick. Stay out for your women. Put it on. Kiss yourself in the mirror. Say, I love you. Look into your eyes. And then it's easy to have conversations. Loving, total conversations. And what would happen is I'd go back into that room where I kissed the mirror, and what would I see? Kisses! And I would be reminded. I would be reminded that, Denise, you are a beloved child of God, and it is my birthright to love and be loved, to forgive and be forgiven. Myself. This is where it all starts, right here, the heart. Later this afternoon, we're going to talk about how the bottom 3 and the top 3 chakras connect in this central point of love. And it has to begin with self-love. And I learned it the hard way. So just remember, no more beating yourself up. Pay attention to what you think about. Think about what you think about. You probably never thought about what you think about. I know that's a little confusing, but you get it. Hold more light. Do whatever you have to do to make more room for the light. And love yourself. Because if at the end of our lives we're going to ask, we might as well ask it every day. An old Buddhist teaching, live, love, matter. Did I live? Did I live my life? Did I live the life that I want to be living? The divinely downloaded, guided life that I know I'm here to do. Everybody is here for a reason, and everybody is very important. Did I live the life I want to live? And did I love? Did I love the best of my ability, mostly myself? And did I let the people in my life know that I love them? And did I matter? Maybe we didn't change the world, but did I do something that made a difference? Because we all matter. So did I live? Did I love? Did I matter? Every night when you lay your head down, and then be filled with gratitude, because gratitude is our gateway to grace. Gratitude is our gateway to grace. So be filled with gratitude. And love your life and love those in it, because you know what? When we travel the world and we travel our path and we just walk in the light and we live our lives like our engine's on fire and we're in the moment, not waiting for that awakening moment, that now all of a sudden it's a crisis. And live your life with childlike awe and wonder. Thank you so much for your kind attention. God bless you.
Well, I don't know about y'all, but I've been fed this morning. Thank you. Thank you.
I forgot to say y'all.
That's okay. We understand that people from Boston don't have the ability. It comes out you, y'all, and that's just not right. That's just not right. So if y'all didn't get a few great zinging one-liners out of that, you weren't listening. So I love, pay attention to what you're paying attention to. Think about what you're thinking about. Thank you. I am so glad that I made plans to be here this afternoon. I'm looking forward. We haven't had a sound healing workshop here in quite a while. And a lot of us here know the power of sound healing. So thank you for bringing that. Okay, y'all. We are going to do the sacred and holy part of seizing the opportunity to give where we are spiritually fed. So your tithes, your donations, all your volunteer service and your creativity, everything is added to create this fabulous community that we call Unity. And now we receive the tithes and donations. If you're making a check, please make it to Unity. And we have our offertory blessing. Please raise your hands for the hand mudras. I am light flowing through me, blessing these gifts to radiate peace. And now the Unitics. Woo!
Thank you.
I am life flowing through me. Blessings these gifts to radiate peace. Okay, we have a few quick announcements, and that is that remember this afternoon, right after the potluck, we'll be back here for the sound healing workshop entitled The Sound of Your Dreams. Next week, I'm speaking on the science of a living universe. And this coming Tuesday night, or Thursday night, that would be better, Thursday night. No, actually, who did this PowerPoint? It was me. So let's choose Tuesday night, May 13th, for our board meeting and potluck. And right after service, Oneness Blessing is happening in here in the Peace Chapel. And is that it for announcements? That's it. Now, I do have one extra announcement that's not on the screen. And that is that our beautiful, beautiful Harriet and Hugh, who are wonderful parts of this community. Hugh, as you know, has been in a nursing care facility. He's at MUSC now, and Harriet's told me this morning that from MUSC, he will be going to Seattle with their son, John. And Harriet will be following sometime in the next 3 to 4 weeks. So remember for those of us who want to make a special trip to Charleston, you're welcome to ride with me over this coming week. And please hug Harriet, let her know we love you so much. It's such an important part of this community. And I hope that you come visit again before you leave for Seattle. Please, all mothers and grandmothers, take a rose today. And stepmothers, all of you women who have been a mothering presence. And then for all roses that are left over, men, please take one as well. Let the women go first. We love you, Harriet. Let's give our special unity blessing for her and for you. Okay? We love you. We bless you. We appreciate you. We behold the Christ in you. And we love you exactly the way you are. All right. Our prayer for protection for us and all those we're holding in our heart. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And we sing our peace song now. Sing it like we mean it. We'll go downstairs for potluck and then back here. Now the workshop is for a suggested donation of 27. That means it's suggested. Some will give less, some will give more. Please show up if that appeals to you. I'm sure going to be here. Okay, yes, there is peace. Here we go.